All right. We're going to get loud with the reels instead. Let's do it. So, Sam Williams up first. Is Sam, are you in the chat? Yeah, I'm here. Oh, Mr. Okay, yo. Mr. How do you even see it? Paul? Is it Paul Senior M in reverse? Mr. Sluop? Okay, can I refresh the page? Probably like a hard refresh. Shift F5. That'll do it, right? I think so. Okay, hopefully that worked. Blog entries, we'll find out. Blog entries, you can tell me. I mean, March 5th is pretty recent, so unless there's something more, then there you go. Middle name Paul, first name Sam. Oh, yeah, okay. Got it. Okay, understand. Okay, so let's, okay, 110, 125, 150 is usually pretty good for the stream, right? 150? There we go. Okay, so, Sam, welcome on in, man. Sam has been a somewhat, I don't know, you've watched Real Talk a few times, right? So hopefully you've taken some notes. We generally look at the site first. We'll just do a quick, quick browse, quick glance first. Home about showreel, game software, blog, and contact. Okay, great. So very first thing is a big name. Great. Game sound designer. All right. And then view showreel. Okay, this is like an interesting kind of compromise because you have the about me first. But there's a button here where it's like, those of you who want to get to the goods, there you go. So, all right, I mean, it's okay, fine. We're going to carry on, though. So about me, hi, my name is Sam. Thank you for taking the time to check out my site. I'm a game sound designer from Bristol, United Kingdom, and I've always had a passion for sound, music, and games, playing in various bands and enjoying countless hours of games like Age of Empires 2, hell yeah, RuneScape, and Quake. Enjoy my page, and I look forward to hearing from you. All right, and that's you right there, huh? Beauty. Let's carry on. There's the reel. We'll skip that for the time being. Game's current project is Xaro Online. What are you? What is this? I've not heard of this. Join now. Download store. Okay, this is it's like a MMORPG or something. It's online, so I assume it's an MMO. Cool. This looks like not a small project, man. So good for you. Carry on. Battery RAMs, Game Jam, Supermarket Derby, Game Jam, software. Oh, you've made software. Okay, this makes sense now. I understand. Okay, see you, Erica. Thanks for dropping in. We'll see you soon, I'm sure. Granumix. Cool. All right. Granular synth. Let's degranulate, pitch, and pan 3 different sound sources, then blend it using volume, EQ controls. Cool. All right, Mac OS, Windows, great. Blog. Well, March 5th is recent, so good for you. In fact, this is really good. Is this consistent, like, through the previous? Or did you just start this? If you just started it, that's also good, but it's hard to keep up with, so Godspeed, man. But we'll look at these for a second, too. But in general, top tips for Creative University. Speedy sound design tip number 1. So, yeah, there's the first one. I guess this is a pretty recently begun blog. I guess we'll have to await number 2. Welcome. Okay. Well, let's, and Twitter works? Yes. LinkedIn works? Yes. Okay. Great. Only 3, but more scheduled every Sunday. Yo! Good stuff. Well, I hope you keep up with it, man. Let's get back to the reel then. It's pretty concise. I like this site. It's very much like, here's what you need to know, and there's not much of it. Just all the fat's kind of trimmed away, you know? So shall we watch a reel? I think so. Volume is at full. I'm going to go full screen on this guy, and we'll press play. Okay, I am skipping ahead right now, and actually, no. If I was on my own right now, I would be skipping ahead, but we'll keep playing. I get it. Battery rams. Cute. So where's freaking XR Online, man? But first, I guess you can't show it yet? Is what's going on there? Well, let's press play again here. So, like I said, I would have been skipping through. Matt also a bit less diplomatic, said already bored. Yeah, straight up. So, the thing is, this opening shot... Well, let's go through. I have several things to say, so we'll go through in order of our criteria at low left here. Let's talk about presentation for a second, yeah? So, first off, the very first thing you have is a bookend that's 2 seconds long and has all your information on it. Fantastic, it's good. That's all you need. It's stylized, it's nice, cool, looks great, it's tasteful. This is not unlike the Power Up logo actually being like kind of pixel and kind of modern. So that's kind of what we were going for originally. I assume you had a similar thought. At the end, you have the same thing. You do. Excellent. So that's taken care of. Done. One thing I don't like about the beginning is that there's no sound. Right here, listen to this. And it always happens that in the first seconds of a reel, it's very easy to be concerned that maybe you... like had your sound off or something or whatever. It's generally a good idea to have something there just to kind of let people know, like, yes, this is a sound reel and I'm going to use all your time or all my time in this reel kind of wisely. So Damien Shepard, for example, stop. Damien Shepard, for example, is like, you press play and right away starts kind of starts low and gets loud. I like using Damien as an example because it doesn't start full volume. It gets there eventually, and it kind of goes like, "Here we go, let's do it." And it's kind of it serves many purposes. One, ramping into the excitement of the reel, hopefully, establishing the volume of the reel, hopefully, and right away, kind of using this space as a sound designer. You're kind of pushing forwards, like, here is my creative vision, and I'm going to use all the time I have to use that, right? Or to convey that. Whereas this, we have this instead, Sam Williams, and nothing. So I could for sure just use something freestyle audio just to establish our volume level for the entire kind of 1 minute and 12-second mix. And then, and the thing is, so like Matt's saying, I'm screwing around checking my volume and then miss the start of stuff. Yeah, I was like, oh wait, am I good? And I was looking over at the window. I was looking at this window right here to make sure my volume was up, and it was.
Mutes, Ben Lamb.
Hey, Ndolan. ND Olin. 12. Ndolan 12. What up? Carrying on. So, Super Red Hot Hero, standard placement. It disappeared, unfortunately. This lower third's nice. It's tasteful. It fades out here. So nice. So nice to look at. It says what it is. It doesn't say what this game is, though. I know it says Game Jam down here. Oh, it's not even the same thing. So what is this game? Is it a Game Jam thing? Is it a ship thing? Development build. So it's probably worth saying what this is. Like if it's in development for Steam or if it is a Game Jam thing or a student project or whatever, it's probably worth saying that this is worth having here because I don't know this game. So yeah, this is sound replacement, but I think worth having like where this is or something. I don't know what this game is. So I kind of curious to see what this is. Like it says in development build, so I'm confused by like development build and also sound replacement. That's kind of what kind of threw me off. But what I do know is it's your sound. That's fine. I just don't know what it is. So I like to know that. So Matt says that. Yeah, it's just me personally being like I don't know what this is, but I kind of want to. So not a big deal. Carrying on, though I don't like how this thing goes away, because as people skip through, they miss what that is now, and suddenly, if they don't see this or don't look at it at the exact right time, then you're not conveying that information. So it's generally a good idea to have like this title to stay up all the time. So yeah, it can't possibly hurt, and you might as well do it. For the next shot, we've got, and we'll talk about the length of that in a second. Battery Rams, Game Jam. So Matt says, my assumption from that is nothing's implemented, it's just a linear piece. Yeah, so that's assumable too, I guess? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say it's implemented, so probably. Like recording and editing. Alright, well, carrying on. This next shot here, it's kind of... So this is Game Jam, and this is now something you were on. Good. Recording and editing. Okay, great. Yeah, the recording editing thing, like... I guess it's good to know you recorded your own sound effects, but I don't know. Carrying on. And again, leave that title up. Vector 36. Also don't know what this is, that's fine. Just sort of like a here's the thing. Like, I guess it's not that important to know like where these things came from, but I don't know. I still think it's like generally just kind of a good courtesy to credit like where they came from. That's my main point. It's not like a matter of like me needing to know where it came from as a person hiring you. It's mainly just sort of as a courtesy to wherever it came from. Like if it's a redesign of some Steam game and you say like this is from Steam or this is from developer whatever, and you say a sound replacement beneath that or after that, I think that's probably a good idea because you're crediting where it came from, right? I mean, this is still on presentation too. It's not going to affect my thoughts on your sound design. It's just sort of something you should probably do out of courtesy. And start again, sure, carrying on, and we are done. So, did you answer my question about Xora Online, man? Let me look up here. No sound, top of the reel, and oh, not much sound in it yet. Okay, that's what you said, right? That was in response to my question? I think so. That must be. Okay, so let's talk about how long this first shot is. If this is a redesign, it's probably too long for what's in it, you know? Like, let's press play here and have a look at what's in this shot. So a hit and a burst, these little dashes, some jumping, enemy interaction, or enemies? Are these enemies or something, I guess? I'm assuming. They look angry. Some pickups. They're really quiet, though, if they're there at all. And like a power-up or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. So by this point, you're kind of being redundant. Like, even by 15 seconds, you're probably being redundant. If you're doing a redesign, and the redesign has like a phrasing like, for example, Ranga last week had this... Oh, this is the wrong one. Ranga Iliperuma. Audio chemist, right? Wasn't it like audio chemist audio? There it is. So this redesign of The Witcher 3... Was it Witcher? I think it was Witcher, wasn't it? Demo reel. So this opening shot, this is kind of worth having longer. I still think it's too long, mind you, but it starts... There's like a story to it, you know? So we have some opening ambience establishment, this big hit into some magic stuff and combat, you know? Like this moves around a lot, whereas this one kind of stays in the same range the entire time. So in terms of holding attention, and this is actually talking about what Matt loves to talk about regarding scripting the narrative and kind of dictating the narrative of somebody arriving on your page. So if they arrive here and you show this clip for a long time, you're risking losing their attention and then losing control of what they're doing on your site. And ideally, if you have a minute-long reel, you should be making a reel that people don't mind watching front to back. And in that respect, you then know what they've seen. Whereas if it gets like 15 seconds in, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it, and I skip here or something, and maybe I missed the thing in the middle that you really wanted me to see, right? So it's pretty important to be kind of careful regarding what all you're demanding of someone's time, you know, or what all you're demanding during someone's time. So in this case, you could show like 15 seconds of this and then move on. We'll talk about the actual design in a second, but that's just presentation-wise. You don't need to show that much. It's kind of the same thing past that point. So battery RAMs, game jam. Okay, cool. So that was like not much, but it was enough. So I was like, okay, got the point, and then he moved on. So presentation-wise, it's better. Just keep that title up, of course. And this last shot is also, you know, like 15, 20 seconds long, so that's fine too. you could literally just cut 15 seconds off this first clip, and it would be instantly a better reel, just because you're not showing so much redundancy. So let's talk about your material selection for a second. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about your page in general for a second too, presentation-wise. I like it. that's the feedback. I like that it's kind of like, this is a bit cheeky, this whole view show reel thing. It's like, all right, it does kind of allow people to say, well, I'll learn about you or not. Like, you probably don't need to have this here, and could simply just have this video above the about me, because it seems like this being the second thing, it seems like this is what you want people to click anyways, seeing as it's the first button they're looking at, you know? So if it's the first thing you want them to see, why not just put the reel here and just clean it up, you know? But your call. About me is fine. Yeah, it's like concise, quick, games, current, and this. Okay, cool. Software is cool, showing that you're obviously interested in this, or interested in audio beyond just like game jam games and stuff. It's pretty awesome. Good for you. And I'm curious to download this. Actually, I'll check it out. So, and blog stuff I'll read, but good that you're active so far, and it's awesome. So good. So carrying on, let's talk about freaking material selection. Yes, back to your reel. Full. So you've got this redesign, and then this game jam game, and then this redesign. But down below, we've got this one too. So I'm not sure, like, I can't, this is here, but despite it being here, I can't click it to learn more about it. I can't listen to it. So this is effectively dead weight in your portfolio. I mean, if you have something in your portfolio and it's a sound portfolio, you generally want to show what you did for sound. Like, does that make sense? I mean, it's one thing if I give you my resume and it has like 15 games on it, but if you want to, if I like actively deny you the chance to hear into those games, then, and let's say you haven't heard of those games, then it doesn't really help me at all, right? If it's games that I've heard of, then sure. But if it's not, then, for example, Supermarket Derby I've never heard of course, it's a game jam game. And I'm curious, but I'm kind of dead in the water here. So you're saying they used actual physics and that completely messed up the sound. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry. But I mean, then this kind of, it's unfortunate, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Because like, this is kind of you won the award for most ambitious game. Game jam, is that, I'm not sure that's a great thing to win. but yeah, it's tough. It's a hard spot to be in, because I mean, like, hell, like Powered Up Audio showed up at Global Game Jam Vancouver in 2013, and we worked on like 19 games over the weekend. And some of those games sound like absolute trash because it's a game jam and people leave their sound too late, or they just don't put it in at all, or they have horrible bugs and no time to fix it, or whatever, right? It's common. But in general, I think having like some kind of write-up here and something like a download of the game or something could help more. Or even like, I don't know, I mean, it's, Matt and I have differing opinions on this sometimes, but in regards to like kind of faking your audio, being like, here's a game worked on, and then like maybe put some time into making it better, or like fake it in a mock-up or whatever, like have something there that says like, this is my sound and this is the envisionment of what it sounds like in game, or something like that, right? It's kind of like something more than this would be probably better. And if you're saying that it would not be better, then maybe you shouldn't include it. You know, I mean, there are games I've worked on that sound like trash because of factors beyond my control, and as a result, those aren't really in my portfolio. I might claim them in a long list, but I'm not going to put them front and center. And you're currently claiming this as one of 3 things. Secondarily, this current project, XRL Online, I guess it's like, it's good that you're showing that you're active and working on something, but if I can't listen to it and there's no gameplay or anything, then I mean, this is kind of also dead weight. So I've got, I mean, is there a gameplay video here anywhere? Like media? Join now. What is this? Is this a media button that says join now? What the heck? Do I need to register again? What even is this? What's happening in this page right now? I can't click this. There is no media. Okay, well, I mean, this is kind of unfortunate. Yeah, so Matt's saying some kind of information would be nice. Just being like, talking about it. If you insist on having it, then like tell me what the heck's happening here. Because so far, this is completely useless. And then furthermore, XR Online, I had to ask you, like, why isn't this in your reel? And you said, not much sound in the game yet. So having some small text or like, I mean, you have space here. Put, 2 sentences beneath each one. Like boom, boom, and one here. And you can tell me a bit more about your project. Because right now I have no idea, right? It's not really conveying any information about this. And I don't know if you're just inactive and your site is showing this, or if the game got canceled and you just like walked away, or what. If you say it's in development right now, and the blog posts help, like these blog posts being so recent kind of help me to piece it together, but I shouldn't have to piece it together. It should just be here very plain, Again, back to the whole thing that you have a limited time from anybody on your site, and you might as well make the best use of that time, right? Jaded old guy moment from Matt. I see MMO and start to assume it's never going to launch. Please get some capture of stuff in it to show off that it's not one of those. Yeah. You don't need to be that old to have that opinion, Matt, to be fair. So, okay, let's talk about content quality. So yeah, to sum up, material selection, redesign, fine. I want to know where it came from, but redesign, okay. It's too long. The battery RAM is short, but it's game jam thing, showing you're active and interested in the community. That's cool. This Vision 36 thing, is that what it's called? Vision 36? Yeah, so I had to find the title there to find out what this was. There you go. So keep this up. It's like a linear cinematic. So far, just in terms of what this is saying about you, is kind of not, I'm not really sure. Like, I'm not sure what you're going for, I guess. Like, the, this opening thing is like a 2.5D platformer thing, and then you have another 2.5D thing that I'm not really sure what the gameplay is, but it's fine. And then you have this cinematic of a game I'm unfamiliar with. So I don't know what you want to work on. Like, do you want to do indie stuff? Do you want to do like AAA stuff, or like trailer stuff, or what? I think in general it's probably a good idea to flesh out your reel a bit more with some more material, just to kind of give a finer focus of what it is you want to be doing. Because this replacement and this replacement are like vastly different, So it's hard to kind of have a read on what you want to be doing. So yeah, I mean, maybe you don't know what you want to be doing. That's fine too. If you just want to work on whatever, then that's fine. You want to work on indie games. Okay, well, cool. That's fine. I think it might be worth redesigning, or yeah, I mean, it's just having more content. I mean, there's only 3 things in your reel, right? So having like 5 or 6 helps to really narrow down and get like an idea of who you are and where your interests lie. I mean, furthermore, if we look at your interests, Age of Empires 2, RuneScape, and Quake, and those aren't very indie. So the whole narrative thing is not very focused at all as far as what you want to be working on. So could help. The UK crew rolls in late. Hey everyone, good to see you all. Damien, you missed my my using your reel as an example, your first 2 seconds, but thank you again for that. So let's talk about content quality. Yeah. So I have a lot of notes here. I'm sure Matt does too. We'll press play one more time. I'm gonna turn off my sidechain for a second, just so you can hear it as I'm talking. So if I skip through, if I were to make some very, very broad comments first, we'll start with broad strokes. Broad comments are that the sound design lacks focus as far as what's most important and what's exciting, what should be exciting to the player. It lacks that, and it also lacks detail and contour for some of the finer points. There's a lot of kind of like very broad design, but in general it seems like this kind of like the design is like half done, if that. It could be a lot more fleshed out. So if we talk about this first bit here, yeah. So Matt says the same thing. There's lots missing. That's my first piece of feedback, is there's a whole lot missing. So let's talk about things in general, and I'll talk about some stuff specifically afterwards. Okay. So these enemies have eyes, but no kind of character, no personality, like no voice. Those power-ups made no sound, apparently. Or maybe it's so quiet. Yeah, it's there. It's like so quiet. Yeah, I mean, it's... I didn't hear any of those ones. That shot's nice, like the doo. And battery ram was like with this one too. We jump up and then we have a landing, but then no footsteps for walking. We have a charge, a hit, but like I have no idea what that did. You know, it's it's kind of, there's a few sounds, but I don't really know what's happening in the game. And this one we have some ambience, but like ambience in general is ambience across all the shots, and it's fine, but not really that out front. Ambience here is kind of just the same across all these shots. Sounds a bit like a space, like a chamber. Some wind, more than it sounds like open air. Oh, so there you go. So Matt says no sense of space to the ambience, 100%. If we talk about, I'm going to link you to, man, I wish my GDC talk was better in terms of its quality, but okay, I'm going to talk about briefly about this talk I gave last year, and well, the year before that too, but it's on the mix in general and how to make mixes engaging, and there's 6 elements, and it's balance, panorama, frequency range, dimension, dynamics, and interest. And in general, you could probably put a bit more love into the majority of those things in these pieces. So balance being the relative volume levels of various things, and you make more important things more loud and therefore more significant. You, for frequency range, you so panorama, you're kind of doing some panorama stuff, I think. Like, let me double check this. I'll note here. Okay, here. So yeah, you are doing some panorama stuff. So these do. Yeah, there's some panning there. Okay, so good job on the panning. The frequency range though, man, it's a lot of low mid. There's a whole lot of low mid in these sounds, man. It's very. I think you can take some risks with broadening the panorama, broadening the spectrum and the frequency content of your sound design. Because so like what Matt's saying here with the ship taking off, he wants to hear like a loud sound, like loud distortion. The sound of sand being kicked up, like a lot of the stuff, wind. There's a whole lot here that would be filling different areas of the frequency spectrum that you're not taking care of right now. So we've got like this. It's like... It's a lot of low mid stuff, and same with these hits over here. Like it's kind of... Oh, I know where it is, Ali, but that talk sucks, man, because the recording... It recorded the sound of the speakers through the speaker's mic, like through my microphone, and not the actual audio output, so it's a completely nonsense talk. You can watch it, and you might get the idea for it, but the examples are complete trash, unfortunately. It's like really unfortunate, because I'm really proud of that talk, but it's really bad in the vault. But thank you for the link. Yeah, so in general, like we'll go through some of your sounds here, and there's like... So yeah, dimension, we talked about having a space for your sounds. Dynamics is like kind of controlling the volume of things over time, and in general things are pretty flat, like everything's the same volume, and it's not really showing me what's important from moment to moment. And then the last one being interest is kind of like this. There aren't big moments, you know. It's like the equivalent of like a drum fill in a piece of music. A drum fill being like, here's an exciting thing, next section. It kind of holds your attention for a cool moment, like a cool guitar riff or like cool vocal effect. There's a lot of things you can do in games as well to kind of draw your attention briefly, and it's not really happening here. There's a few kind of interesting different effects here and there, but it's not really anything special. It's just sort of similar, kind of predictable stuff for the most part. Kind of like what you see is what you get. So let's talk about a little more specific design. Let's talk about this dash, okay? So this dash here, when you come across, I'll play it one time. Okay, yeah? So we got it. So this dash, if we separate this into a few parts, we've got like the kind of the targeting it looks like. Like I've never played this game, so I'm not sure how this all works, but it seems like you target something and then dash to it, kind of like in Sonic. Right, so we have like the target, we have the release and the dash, we have the impact and kind of the follow-up, right? So all these things, we should probably be telling a bit of a story with the sound to reflect all these moments in this sort of whole phrase of activity, right? And so far, all we really have is like that's like, and that's it. And that's it. So maybe like something for the target, and then the release, like a, and then an impact for that, and then kind of like a tail out after you hit it. So it's going to be a lot more interesting as far as your design goes, and really this kind of it's a symptom of a larger issue with your sound design in general, in that for sound design for games or for anything really, you should be thinking, or rather you could consider looking at your sound design in terms of a beginning, middle, and end. So you're telling a story with that sound, and that goes for kind of all things. That goes for like a single gunshot. That goes for a full piece of a trailer. That goes for something like this dash. There is kind of like a phrase to it. It goes for a lot of things, and even for something like one of these impacts, there could be like the transient, the body, and the tail out, whatever that looks like. You can kind of expand this concept to a full sound or a small sound, right? So how about these boxes too? Like, what are these boxes made of, man? Close your eyes. So it sounded kind of like a rubber mallet hitting a boulder or something. So I think just in terms of detail, like that could be, well, it looks like I punch it actually. So here's the punch. So it's like a
Obliterated.
Hey Maru, yay. So there's like a punch, but I have no whoosh, and the impact is like, and we're done. But really, I know you don't see it. Like these kind of just fade away, right? It's like, and they're gone. But if you just inject a bit more life into this sound, like, well, it seems to be made of wood slats, like this box here. So maybe some splintering, some like light wooden debris after the fact. Just something to kind of communicate what this is, and to inject a bit more life and kind of realism. It could be stylized realism, but it's just some kind of life into the environment of the game. These sounds here, they could be way more up front. I think just in general, this is a lot like what my early design resembled, to be absolutely honest. Jeff, my co-founder at PowerUp, and myself, we kind of started on like opposite sides of the spectrum as far as how we matured as sound designers. And he was like, everything's like super fucking loud all the time. and I was like, oh, everything's like gotta be like very subtle and kind of very, very like nuanced. And we're kind of a good match for that now, because he's like amazing at broad strokes, and I'm terrible at broad strokes. And I have
with impunity.
Hey Graham, I have much more attention to the details these days, and so the problem was I do things like this. Like this is not if you look at some of my earlier works, it sounds a lot like this, to be honest. Like like, I know you're concerned about these sounds being too loud and repetitive, maybe like abrasive or jarring, but you can push it farther than that. And there are steps you can take to make like kind of repetitious sounds like many pickups at once sound better without just turning it down, you know? You can do variation. You can do things like cascading into higher notes as you collect more things in a row. You can do things like have the first one loud and then go down in volume as you carry forward through the rest of them. There's like a lot of steps you can take that aren't just like dial that fader way the hell back, you know? And just in general, like the loud things could be way louder. Like this impact. So this all kind of gets back to what Matt said earlier about just making it just, it seems small and unsatisfying. So the sound should make me feel like I just did an awesome thing, and feedback on the parts I did, the focus on the target, the release I did it in the warp time of space. The dash is the most important thing going on in the game at that moment, and the sound should help sell that. So that goes for like all these things. We can go by step and just see what's important. That hit, that kick into the wall, the explosion, that power-up pickup, these pickups, this whoosh and punch, that pickup, this hit, and the hit over there, which you got off screen, good for you. And then, like this hit right here, boom, boom. They're all kind of like occupying the same frequency spectrum. Also, it's like, it's all kind of, and because it's all the same, or at least similar, it tends to make the whole thing feel flat. Whereas if you have like a, when it's all over the place, you tend to just bring more life into the environment. That's what reality sounds like, right? Like whether it's a stylized reality or reality in like our sense of the term reality. So battery RAMs, I mentioned is the lack of sound. It's good that you're including this element, this game jam piece in your reel, but there's like not much sound in here, man. We have some kind of droning ambience that's not really selling the space that much, and we've got this charge, and again we've got a jump up. So we have like a start and a finish, but kind of nothing in the middle. So maybe like it can be like the sound of the sheep or something. I don't know. Yeah, it just needs to be filled up more, man. And this last section, Matt talked about a bunch already. So did we. Just in terms of this kind of movement, like is the camera moving or is it like a? Like what's this camera? Is it just sort of a fly on the wall, omniscient thing going on? Even if so, it can't hurt to have like a and just help sell the space a bit more. Matt dropped a box break. Here we go. I'm gonna do a box break right now. Here we go. Press play. Yeah. Sounds like wood. And there's even like a at the beginning. It's very small, but it's there. Carry on. Just these small elements need a lot more attention, man. So this bloom, blump, blump is good, but doesn't really sound like it's in the space that much. Like it's okay, but this here, that there is okay. Aren't really hearing that movement so much. It's sort of like a zzz, sort of generalized. Yeah, it's very generalized. So I think just more detail in general could be a lot, like really helpful. And that, like we were saying, that includes kind of getting into. You have some things, like for example, this. I'll speak and say that this is super nice. The ka-chunk in here, where it attaches. It's like chunk chunk. You have a lot more going on in the sound that we're seeing visually, so that's good because you're injecting kind of more detail and contour into the world that we're not seeing, and that's kind of the first. That's how you start going from like good design to great design. Is kind of just putting your own mark on the work without having it be handheld through the whole thing. But yeah, just needs a lot more love. This thing's way crazier as far as loudness than we're hearing. Okay, so let's talk about, unless anything else you want to say, Matt. As far as distinction goes, yeah, like it's not really standing out yet because of the whole thing, like the fact that your main project has no audio, sadly, and this one is just sort of dead in the water, and this one is like not much sound in your reel. So I think that until you can show more of this kind of thing, if you do want to flesh out your reel more in the meantime, I think it wouldn't hurt. It couldn't possibly hurt to do like some more redesign stuff and maybe put in some implementation too if you want to work on indie games. Because showing that you're more deeply involved than simply here is some sound is really helpful. This kind of proves that a bit as far as showing you're more interested in, or you have skill sets beyond just content creation. But it couldn't hurt to show that you're kind of interested in like Wise or Unity or Fmod or whatever. So yeah, Matt says the reel right now doesn't stand out, and we're pretty much covered as far as comments go. Yeah, it's like on its way, man. I'd be curious to see kind of where you are soon, because this does stand out, by the way. Like, this is definitely something that we don't see very often on a reel. We saw Gray Davenport's like freaking Space Invaders and Pure Data, and that like it sticks. I still recall that, right? So it's that kind of thing will stand out, and this does too. I actually cannot think of an example of somebody else in like the 70-ish reel talks we've done of somebody else who's done software. Maybe there has been. I can't recall one though. But there you go. So I mean, good on you for this kind of thing. This is huge. And Matt says, I've never made a synth, nor have I. So there you go. It's one of those things that you obviously want to do and are doing actively. So good for you. Okay, so I think that's probably enough for the time being. Of course, Paul, if you have any questions, Paul, Sam, if you have any questions further on, feel free to reach out to Matt or myself. We'll be sure to clarify anything. But thank you very much. Some claps in the chat, please. Okay, and then